Okay, this video is just to describe what's on the sleeve of the Kid Ori and his Creole Dixieland band. This is Ferran. I know that you're unable to see what's going on, so I'll try and describe it for you. Columbia LP, long playing microgroove record, unbreakable or non-breakable. It's quite a firm 10-inch disc, more like a 78, but it's not shellac. It's one of the early ones, I guess. The songs on the little mini LP are Savoy Blues, Creole Song, The Glory of Love, Mahogany Hall Stomp, Blues for Jimmy, At a Georgia Camp Meeting, Go Back Where You Stayed Last Night, and Yaka Hula Hickey Doola. The artists on their playing are the trombone Edward Kid Ori, cornet Edward Teddy Buckner, clarinet Joseph Joe Darrensborg, piano Lloyd Glenn, guitar Julian Davidson, another guitar Eddie Scrivenek, the bass is Morty Korb, and the drums are by Minor Ram Hall. And there's a whole written bit on the back by Barbara Ganung where she's talking about the LP. So I'm going to read it through for you because I know you like bits and pieces like this. So what it says is, jazz has gone full circle from the days of its origin in New Orleans, through its golden 20s era in Chicago, into swing and the big bands that played it, taking a flyer into bop, returning at last like an errant child to its mother, to the New Orleans jazz or Dixieland so beloved by Kid Ori. Here is the old master of Dixieland himself, still going strong at the age of 62, with the best band he has ever had, playing with the beat and feeling that will start people dancing again, just as he started them dancing long ago in Storyville, Muhlenberg, and all of New Orleans. Much has happened to the Ori band that last recorded for Columbia, album C126. 3 of the members of that group have died: Papa Mutt Carey from the trumpet, Bud Scott guitar, and Buster Wilson piano. Barney Bigard is with Louis Armstrong's All-Stars, and Montudi Garland, although still playing with Ori, was unable to participate in these selections. Ori has continued playing on the West Coast, but did take time out in 1948 for an Eastern tour, climaxed by his Carnegie Hall concert. His present regular group, which does not include the 2 guitarists and the bass player on these numbers, has been together more than a year. Time that has seen and heard them on television, before the movie cameras, on radio, playing many special concerts, and recording for Armed Forces Radio Service, which in turn has beamed them into practically every country of the world. The musicians, what it says about them. Kid Ori, fabulous tailgate trombonist, started his musical career on a homemade 5-string banjo. He was only 8 when he had his first band, all using instruments made from cigar and soap boxes, but with a child's ingenuity, he put on enough performances to earn money for real instruments 2 years later. His first one was a valve trombone, which was replaced by another valve horn before he attained his first slide trombone at age 14. New Orleans first heard him with his own band when he was 21, and his 11-year stay there found him crowning Joe Oliver King, telling Louis Armstrong to get a pair of pants and you can play with us, and starting many of the jazz greats on their way to lasting fame. His own trail of fame was blazed so well through Chicago, New York, and the West Coast that he could not be forgotten for his 10 years in retirement, and found the faithful welcoming his re-entry into the world of jazz in 1942. The intervening years have brought him countless fans, acclaiming him as the master of the slip horn. As a composer, he is famous for his jazz classics. Where have I got up to? Muskrat Ramble and Savoy Blues, the later being in his collection, as are 2 other originals. Drummer Ram Hall has worked for or with Ori off and on from 1913, since joining Ori's band in the 40s. He has gained the full recognition his talents warrants. Clarinetist Joe Darrensborg started in his hometown of Baton Rouge, travelling with a medicine show, and was playing in Seattle just before he joined Ori's group. To many of his fans, his low-register clarinet is greatly reminiscent of the late Jimmy Noon, whose memory is honoured in this collection. Born in Texas, reared in Los Angeles, and a year's engagement in Shanghai, China, part of the background of Teddy Buccaneer on cornet. A graduate of Lionel Hampton's small group of the 30s, he has played with Benny Carter and Horace Henderson before joining Ori in July 1949. Morty Korb on bass is one of the best and busiest on the West Coast. He appears days on television, and nightly he plays with a band, plus his many recording dates, radio and movie work. His stint with Louis Armstrong and his All-Stars is the fondest memory. Guitarist Julian Davison played for the Prince of Wales Mayfair parties in, go up the top, 1924. But he's also a veteran of the bands of Paul Ash in Chicago, Ben Burney, and a 12-year stretch in the staff band of Columbia Broadcasting in Hollywood. Eddie Scrivenek, guitarist, leader of the sextet from Hunger, started his career with the Deep River Band but has played the top radio shows, movies with the Los Angeles Symphony, is director of Proudly We Hail, and a list of others too long to include. Lloyd Glenn, pianist, started in his birthplace, San Antonio, Texas, and progressed around the country via New York and Chicago to the West Coast and the Ori Band in 1949. Okay, now about the selections. Savoy Blues, written by Ori in 1927, came into being at the request of a Mr. Fagan, owner of the Savoy Ballroom in Chicago where the Kid was playing. He asked that the name of his place be used and that Ori tried to capture the spirit of the crowds that thronged the hall. The first recording was by Armstrong's Hot Five the same year with Ori on trombone. Creole Song, although written in 1944, is a reminiscence of Ori's New Orleans days. Sung in his native patois, it concerns a Madame Pedot who frequented Storyville, but is best remembered on Claiborne Street. She spent her nights listening to everything she could, and the next day would buttonhole everyone she knew to spread her scandalous gossip. As the words "Ton pas bon, you're no good" explain, the Madame became very unpopular with the people of New Orleans. The Glory of Love serves beautifully to introduce the vocalist Lee Sapphire. Mahogany Hall Stomp, written by Louis Armstrong in the 1920s in memory of those who danced at Lulu White's famous Mahogany Hall in Storyville, has become a Dixieland standard. Louis and Ori recorded this together after finishing their work in the picture New Orleans, and Ori now presents his own rocking version of this old favourite. Blues for Jimmy, says Ori, was written for Jimmy Noon, my favourite clarinet player who worked with me on the Mercury Wonder Show. Orson Welles phoned me the morning Jimmy died and asked me to get some blues together for that night's programme because Jimmy had told him that was what he wanted to play. I did, and after Orson finished his speech about Jimmy that night, we all played the blues with tears streaming down our cheeks. He went on, lately I have started thinking that several parts weren't just the way Jimmy would have wanted to play them. So last month I rewrote those parts. At a Georgia camp meeting is a traditional number from before the Civil War that has become public domain. The sheet music states simply that this march was not intended to be part of a religious exercises at a Georgia camp meeting hut, but when the young folks got together, they felt that they needed some amusement. A cakewalk was suggested and held in a quiet place nearby. Hence this music. Go Back Where You Stayed Last Night is a provocative number written by Ethel Waters in 1926 and recorded by her for Columbia that same year. Ori's lively version of it highlights Lee Sapphire's singing, and on the second chorus she is joined by Joe Darrensburg in an effective boy-girl routine. Yaka Hula Hickey Dula revives one of the greatest Hawaiian hits of all time. Originally introduced by Al Johnson in the Winter Garden in New York in 1916, it was done by all the best vaudeville acts and even produced a rash of male as well as female dancers, bent on proving they could hula to hickey dula. Ori's rendition of this old Hawaiian success shows how easy it is for the master of jazz to turn even a hula into pure Dixieland. Okay, well I hope that makes sense for you. And it says, just as on the bottom there, play them with your 33 1/3 RPM automatic record changer or LP player attachment. Right, there you go. So I hope that helps, Ferran. Okay.